Just getting started, so this is my first thing. So,
Oh, yeah, it's early there, huh?
yeah, the sun's barely up here. So,
Oh, cool. Thanks for being flexible with my schedule.
oh yeah, it's not a problem.
Awesome.
Hold on 1 second, having a problem with the microphone over here. Okay, I can hear you now. Perfect. So I'm so happy to have you on and everything like that. I'm glad you decided to come on and we could get uh, connected and everything. Yeah, I know the time difference is a little funky with
Yeah,
you being in Germany and I'm being here in the States and everything like that, but we made it work. So
awesome. Well,
I'm,
ditto. Excited to be here.
yeah. So I'm excited to pick your brain a little bit. Um,
Do
so,
it.
so main thing I wanted to talk about today with you is plant-based diets. I know, having followed you and known you for a little while, you eat a very plant-based diet that I'm actually very envious of, and would love to pick your brain a little bit about that transition because I know a lot of people. I know that's kind of where a lot of people are moving, which is probably in the right direction for a lot of people, a lot more. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about that. First, like, how did that progress? Was that a way that you always kind of grew up eating, or is that something more recent?
Yeah, definitely not how I grew up.
Yeah.
It's definitely recent. And it's been kind of like one of those things that's always kind of sat in my brain. Like, I want to eat less meat, but I think it would have come quicker, except I have this, and I think you understand this protein paranoia. Like, how do I, and when you're strength trained, not just like an active fit person, but when you're strength training and you always have strength trained, you've
Mhm.
gotten really ingrained in your mind the importance of protein. And
Oh
how do
yeah.
you protein on a plant-based diet? It just seems intimidating.
Oh yeah.
Number one, that feels intimidating. But number two, the idea of labels felt very intimidating. So, like, I think I delayed starting because it felt like such a big switch. Like, oh my gosh, I have to be vegan. How do I just be vegan all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Um, and I think when I finally wrapped my head around the idea that I don't have to be, and this was actually hard. It seems simple me saying it, but to fit into it says connection lost. Are we still good?
No, I lost you right there. But I think we're good now.
Can you hear me okay? Because mine is saying connection lost.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Cool. Where did I leave off?
The labels. You were talking about labels.
So understanding that you don't have to be like fit in on one label or another. So I don't have to just go vegan from one day to the next. I can experiment. I can take it slow. And if I want to, I never have to be fully plant-based or fully vegan. There is no one right way to do it. I really had to get in touch with my overall goal. And what is my overall goal? Eat less meat. So I kind of saw it as, in the profession that we're in, the idea of the 80-20 rule as far as
Yeah.
diet goes, like 80% healthy, nutritious foods, 20% whatever you want foods. I
Yeah.
tried to view it like what if I could do the same thing, like 80% plant-based, but 20% kind of whatever. And
Mhm.
when I went in with it with that mindset, it really helped me transition, so to speak. So
Gotcha.
started I just started like looking up new recipes and trying to do, like, instead of all nights having meat at dinner, I tried to do one high protein plant-based new recipe. And then the
Okay.
next week I would do two of those, and the next week I would do three of those. And I just got to the point where I had enough comfort with things and I started to understand like where you could get protein and how you could fill it up. Um, and it just kind of went from there. And I would say I still definitely eat meat, but it's very, very much less than it was before. Like, we'll have
Yeah.
chicken or fish every other week.
Okay.
So like one night a week we'll have chicken and maybe next week we'll have fish. But everything else is plant based. And honestly, it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be to get the protein in.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple of things that you talked about there. I think the whole labeling thing
Mm-hmm.
is huge for most people. I think I think that for some people, it's their identity, you know, they're vegan, vegetarian. But for most of us, we don't want to be vegan or veg. Like that label doesn't matter to us. And that's like a big switch for a lot of people, like especially, you know, trying to incorporate more plant-based stuff. Like, oh, they don't want to be considered vegan or vegetarian. That's kind of like stopping them and whatnot. And they're not finding a label that fits them because there is no label, you know, to fit them.
It's interesting too, because I was just talking to my neighbor who said she was like, hey, update, we're going vegan. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, we're going vegan, but it's probably going to be hard. And, I'm really hoping that I don't just slip up and then I'll be right back to where I was. And I was hearing it as if I was talking to somebody who was going on a healthy eating diet. Like, I'm starting keto. I'm just doing it. And I'm like, you don't have to just be vegan. You can eat less meat and also and then that's so much more sustainable, right?
Yeah.
It's so much more sustainable to not try to fit yourself in some kind of box. And that's my goal. My goal is to create the sustainable lifestyle of mostly eating plants, like way more than I did before, and eating way less meat. And I've done that and I feel really good about it. And I think it's a kind of a path that almost anybody could adapt to without feeling this pressure of fitting into this box.
Yeah, I think that kind of fits right into the mold of like flexible dieting, because then it leaves you open to situations that otherwise, if you were vegan or vegetarian, you would specifically have to find meals around that. So like if you were going to a family event or a restaurant and they didn't happen to have that option because you went with friends and they chose the restaurant, and you might not be able to find something, though most places nowadays do have some type of option. But it gives you options to feel that you're not off, that you didn't fail. You're still within your diet and you're enjoying life. But then when you get home the next day, next meal, you can go right back to how you were eating and not feel like you fall off.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not being so rigid. It's that whole rigidity concept. And that's what I wish, just in health and fitness in general, I wish people could get off of. Stop being rigid about everything, because it's not really consistent. Rigidity is not sustainable.
Yeah. You think
if it does, to be honest, it works for some people, because some people their intrinsic motivation behind going plant-based is maybe ethics, and they just can't stomach the idea of eating an animal. And if being rigid with the rules works for you, and you can be sustainable with it, absolutely. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but that's not what we have to strive for. I think we tend to think it should be that way. Yeah,
I 100% agree. I think the more rigid you are, the less sustainable it is. And always, I think about like who are the most rigid people in fitness, and those are going to be like your physique and your bodybuilding type competitors, and they're very rigid. And we, as most of us know, that's not a sustainable look. They don't look stage ready 100% of the year. So it's not a sustainable aspect. So I think that's definitely going to be huge for some people to be able to transition. I think that's less of the transition than eating the food or finding the food. I think that's kind of, like you said, easier. But I think the idea, the mental aspect behind it is probably what stops most people. I think that's probably what stops me from trying to incorporate more. It's like, oh, I don't want to be vegetarian or vegan. I like steak. I like chicken. So like, it's like, I don't want to be considered vegetarian because that'd be a lie to me. Yeah. At least.
Yeah. Yeah. So people say to me all the time, oh, I could never give up bacon. Like, well, that's your flaw right there, is that you automatically go into it thinking, oh, I could never give up. Well, you don't have to. Don't go into it thinking you have to give up anything. Yeah. Start incorporating and see where you go from there. Maybe one day you'll want to just never eat bacon again, but maybe not. And that's fine too. But yeah, we're on the same page.
Yeah. Awesome. So what would you suggest for people to start incorporated like plant-based, like eating a more plant-based diet, especially around, like you said, the protein aspect of it? What steps do you think people should start taking if they want to incorporate?
Yeah, something that I definitely recommend, and I recommend this to a lot of my nutrition clients who are trying to get in more protein anyway, like overall, and you might do the same, is that start with a protein shake every day.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily recommend protein shakes as a long-term solution, but I think that especially for beginning clients, like that can give them a boost to their protein while they figure out other foods they can eat to cover that. And I think that goes doubly true when doing a plant-based diet, because to be honest, it is harder to get in enough protein while keeping everything else. Like you tend to get a lot of carbs with the plant-based diet. So letting go of your fear of carbs, definitely have to do that, number one. Number two, take that protein shake every single day, use it as a supplement, and give yourself a 25-gram boost. I have a plant-based protein shake every day. Some days I don't have it, but it really helps keep my protein high. And then I kind of plan the rest of my diet around that. So letting go your fear of carbs, protein shake daily. My third thing is to really start by experimenting with meat substitutes. So taking food you already enjoy and finding substitutes that are out there that you can literally directly replace it with. So like spaghetti with meat sauce, find a like vegan meat replacement, like Beyond ground beef instead of actual ground beef. And once you start getting comfortable with like the meat products that are out there, then you feel a little bit more freedom to start experimenting with other types of recipes where you don't have to rely on those things as much.
Okay.
Because I don't necessarily like they are processed foods. And so it's really not to fill up your diet with a lot of these processed foods anyway. But it can feel intimidating to go from having a wealth of knowledge and recipes as an adult to feeling like you're back in college because you don't know what to cook outside of like spaghetti and pasta sauce. Like, what else can I eat? Just start substituting with the processed stuff that you have to give yourself a good handle and feel like you're making progress, and then start discovering new recipes. Start experimenting with vital wheat gluten and nutritional yeast and tofu and all these other things that you might feel uncomfortable with.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What resource do you use, especially because I love to cook and I'm big in the kitchen. So I love that stuff. So where do you find, like, I know I've seen on your Instagram and everything like that, you know, you've made a lot of recipes and things like that, that I've never heard of half the stuff, you know, that you come up with and everything like that. So where do you find out this information? Where can people maybe go look for some good recipes and some, you know, just how to cook? Because, you know, I think at the end of the day, having like some recipes and, you know, like you said, like those meals that like, you know, how to make is huge for people to consistently eat, you know?
I get almost all of my recipes from Instagram. I've been really into, I just have a folder and I save anything I see that I like. And I have a pretty good knowledge base in the kitchen anyway, similar to you. And then I went through my whole restarting, learning how to cook when I tried to go plant-based, because I can make you can have some amazing creamy sauces for pastas, like without using milk. Like cashews, nutritional yeast are amazing. Like I never understood, like, oh my gosh, I don't need to use milk. This is amazing.
Milk or cream. Yeah.
No, it's fabulous. It's so crazy. So I follow a bunch of like vegan food bloggers. I actually don't even follow any non-vegan bloggers, even though I don't like to fit into labels. I find that if I just find the vegan ones, then I get a lot of great recipes, and everything else that I use meat, I already know how to do. I don't need like fancy new recipes for. And so I really love, I eat a lot of like ethnic food, like Ethiopian or Indian, you know, Asian. Like I love curries and I love flavor and stuff like that. So that actually works really well for plant-based, because you're eating a lot of lentils, a lot of curries, tofu, things like that. And so, I get most of my recipes from there, and then I experiment and kind of make things my own. And then once I make things my own, or if I come up with an idea on my own, I'll usually post it on my own website. So I have like some recipes that I'm trying to build up also. But yeah, Instagram's a great resource. I think Pinterest also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to check those out because I'm definitely interested. What are some, you talked about, you know, the curries and stuff. What are some of your like go-to foods, especially for that high protein, for some people that maybe don't know some of these, you know, plant-based? Because I know I've seen some that you've used that I've never heard of, honestly, you know, which is pretty cool. I'm always interested to learn.
Yeah. Well, lentils have super high plant-based protein. So I use lentils a lot. And with all legumes, I think some people struggle digesting them and getting gas and stuff like that. My suggestion is always to go slow, start introducing small amounts into your diet over time, and your body will adjust. Some people avoid legumes completely because of that, but your biome, put that together, you get butt. Your gut biome will eventually adapt to having that in your diet. So don't be afraid of lentils. But any kind of curry, I will do like lentil curry with veggies in it all the time and add tofu. And if you add tofu plus the protein from the lentils, you get like 20 to 30 grams of protein in a meal. I also really love vital wheat gluten. Are you familiar with vital wheat gluten?
No.
So it's basically flour, but instead of being just flour, it is only the protein extracted from the wheat. So It looks like flour, but it's literally super high protein, and you can use it. I use it mixed with a lentil puree that I make to make like a steak, like kind of like a steak.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Meat, yeah, but it's got like 30 to 45 grams of protein per steak, and my husband loves them because they meet his protein needs. He's like 180 per day he needs of protein. And so you can have this steak and you can make like an onion gravy with veggies on the side, just like you would a normal steak. And again, it doesn't taste like meat, but it tastes delicious on its own. Yeah. Using vital wheat gluten, we make those steaks a lot, the curries. I make a meatloaf, but using lentils and vital wheat gluten. It's a lentil loaf. My kids love it with ketchup. It's got a ton of veggies in it. Those are really my go-tos. Yeah. The steaks, the loaf, and curries. I'm doing curries like twice a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those look delicious. Yeah, I've been meaning to get more lentils into my diet because I love, that type of stuff. Just it's always that first time. It's like you got to cook it like 1, 2, 3 times to really get that 100% incorporated.
Yeah. I don't even I dump the whole bag in. I never rinse them or pre-cook them, and it doesn't bother us at all. I really just think we're used to it. But yeah, go slow if it's something that bothers you, and your butt will adapt.
Yeah. So awesome. So kind of switching gears just a little bit with everything. So we talked a lot about the plant-based diet, but maybe getting a little bit more now into, the whole fitness and fat loss area. You post a lot about body confidence and having confidence with your body. I follow you for a while, and I love your content. I think you really do show off a lot of confidence, and a lot of energy behind your posts and everything. So I kind of want to dig a little deeper into, your mindset with the body confidence and how people can find that confidence within themselves. So what is kind of like your mindset behind your body confidence? How did you, find that confidence, and how can people find it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I have 2 things floating in my mind right now. One is that, so it started for me. So my brand is like strength, right? And that's meant to be not just physical, but like this mental and emotional, like Venn diagram of everything meeting in the middle. And it kind of started for me with struggling with an eating disorder in my teens and my early 20s, recovering from that. And something that really helped me recover from body dysmorphia and everything else I had going on, which I won't go into right now, is strength training. Because strength training, just the act of actually doing it, helped me see, instead of constantly thinking about how I can change my body, how I can adjust it, how I can get smaller and do negative things to it. It taught me how to see the positives of growing or gaining strength, gaining muscle, what my body can do versus what it can't do, or what it's limited by, or how it looks. So it completely transformed my mindset. So I think that is part of that whole body confidence, and appreciating your body as what it is stop trying to get smaller and think about what you can lose, and start thinking about what you can gain and what your body can already do, and focus on that stuff. And when you do, the aesthetic stuff follows. But when you're focused so much on the aesthetic and what you can lose, you're constantly in that hamster wheel. You can never get out of it because it's not sustainable. Like we talked about before, it's really not. So shifting that focus is really a lot of that. But something else that's also really been on my mind lately in the past year, and I'm trying to figure out how to deliver this message because it can also sound negative, but I don't mean it to sound negative, is your genetics have so much to do with the way your body looks and where your body holds fat. And that is just what it is. Like my body has always kind of been like this. Since high school, I've always been this general size, this general shape. And I've been able to tweak it here and there. But a lot of people have this false idea that they can completely change the way that their body looks. And you can't. But that shouldn't be something that cripples people or makes them feel upset. That should be something that empowers you. Like there is so much that you can do, but you need to accept who you are, because that's who you are, and your body tells the story of your genetics and your history and all of this stuff. And so I think being able to take both of those things and kind of combining them together, it's really is a total mindset shift. And it's not something that you can just do.
Yeah, I think that's huge, because if you don't kind of get that, your mindset right, even if you need to lose 100 pounds, even if you lose that 100 pounds, you're still not going to be happy at the end of the day if you don't accept yourself where you're at. I think that's a big shift for a lot of people. They think, oh, when I lose the weight, or when I look a certain way, or when the scale hits a certain number, I'm going to be this better person. But that's not 100% true. You can be that better person right now while still trying to lose that weight. You got to really start being that better person now.
Right.
I think that's huge, and I think focusing on what you gain, especially with strength training, I think that's like one of the biggest things for a lot of people. Is like, that's why I think so many people preach, do strength training, not just for the benefits that are obvious, but like for the unobvious ones, like gaining confidence and strength. There's something empowering about being able to pull a bar off the floor, like 135-pound bar. Like that just feels great. I think everyone will tell you that just feels amazing, and it's empowering to know that you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think, at this point, like it's just a great feeling that I think a lot of people don't incorporate with strength training, or people shy away from it. It's like, no, do it. You're going to feel stronger. When you feel stronger, you're going to feel better about yourself.
It's so holistic. It really is. It's like all encompassing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So on top of that, what would you say to someone who's maybe looking to build more confidence in how they look? What steps should they maybe take, or actions, or even mindset shifts to, become more confident in, how they look or how they feel about themselves?
Yeah, well, this makes me think of like how I start off my training clients. Usually, so I have a document, and the first things I ask them to do is they have a goal setting page. And so I always recommend that they start off by setting goals. And when I say goals, I don't mean how much weight you want to lose, how many inches you want to lose, anything like this. Usually my goals are, how do you want to feel? And we always start there. Do you want to feel strong? Do you want to feel lean? Do you want to feel energetic? How do you want to feel? And we work towards those feelings. And then we go from there. What do you need to do every single day in order to feel this way? And like I said before, John, the aesthetic stuff will follow. But when you focus so much on, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, well, guess what? If you lose 18 and you don't meet your goal, well, you failed, right?
Yeah.
We're getting away from that mindset. We're focusing on a feeling, and the aesthetic stuff will follow. And then I also always recommend daily journaling with I am statements. So imagining everybody in their head has this idea when they're starting on this journey. They have this idea of what they want to be. Maybe they have somebody they know that's like, oh, I wish I was like them. I wish I just enjoyed salad. I wish I just ran and didn't even think about it because that was my exercise. I wish I could just deadlift that bar, but I have no idea where to start. You have to imagine yourself already being there. Put yourself a year from now and imagine all of the things you want to be able to do. And then put those statements and those habits into practice now. So not, I want to be a healthy person who eats salad every day, but I am a healthy person who eats salad every day. Not, I want to jog. I do jog, and just do it. And you have to start practicing them and living them in the moment. in order to manifest this version of yourself that you want to be. So I recommend those daily journaling of those I am statements, along with setting goals of those feeling words. And it all comes back to engaging in the habits, just doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. I think that the journaling can definitely help you realize where you want to be. Because I think a lot of these goals that a lot of people have, and I think this is why a lot of people quit, is they do it for a month, maybe two if they're lucky, and then they quit because their goal is 10 months away. And it's hard for any of us to see the bigger picture.
Yep.
Most of us can't see that far in advance. So having something to kind of see what we're looking at, in the long term, okay, this is where I'm going, and something reminding us daily, hey, this is what we're working towards. This is who I'm becoming over time is definitely huge. I think a lot of people lose sight of that big picture. We have as humans, we have a hard time seeing the big picture. We only see what's in our blinders, right in front of us for today and tomorrow maybe. But next month, 5 months from now, that's almost impossible for us to really visualize and stay like motivated for.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why most people quit. So I think that journaling would be huge to help get people in that kind of mindset that over time you will build those habits just by saying it regularly over and over again.
Yeah, and setting your mind for the day is huge. Really setting your mind for the day, how you're going to be in your mindset.
Yeah. It all starts when, that's why they said when you got up on the wrong side of the bed. It starts in the morning. It starts, within that first 5 to 10 minutes. I think most people will tell you they'll tell you how their day is going to be. It's going to be good or it's going to be bad, just based off their attitude in the first 10 minutes. So that's why I like to wake up happy, and it pisses some people off how happy I am in the morning. But you know what? That's me. If I'm not smiling in the morning, something's wrong with the day already.
That's actually super inspiring to hear.
Yeah.
I want to remember that.
Yeah. I've always come in with the mindset of like, why not be happy? Because I think we all choose our own happiness. So why not, like, in the morning, I'm awake, I'm alive, I'm here. Let's be happy. Let's like, so what we could be doing. I could think of 10 worse things or places to be right now than right here. Like, oh, what's so bad about that?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know, but like, why not be happy? So like, that's why I always try to wake up, like, why not be happy in the morning?
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. So, but back on the first thing you said about the confidence, and I can't remember what it was. The goals. I love focusing on like your feelings about your goals. I think that's an interesting point that I don't think a lot of people even think of as a goal, feeling strong or how they feel. I think they do go right to the aesthetic goals and everything like that. I think that's a huge thing that most people need to start moving away from, is focusing on those results. Because like you said, the results will come. It's how are you going to get to the results? How are you going to feel with the results? Which is the bigger aspect.
Yeah. I mean, if a client tells me in their goal setting, I want to feel lean, I'm going to put them on a calorie deficit and they're going to lose weight.
Yeah.
But if a client comes to me, I literally signed up a client a few months ago that came to me saying, I want to lose 60 pounds in 3 months. I'm just doing it. I'm finally doing it. 60 pounds in 3 months. Oh, John. I was like, I don't know how to have this conversation with you. Like, you will lose weight. You will feel freaking phenomenal if you engage in these things that we talk about every single day. But you might not lose 60 pounds. And that right away, that goal being so large, and the lifestyle stuff that she would have to implement in order to meet that goal would be so life altering.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize that either. They don't realize that, like, to have such a hefty goal, do you realize that your day from the moment you wake up at 6 a.m. to the moment you lay your head on the pillow is going to have to be completely different than what you're doing now? And can you totally change that around today, right now? No, you can't. You're not. You may be able to do it for a week, but you are going to crash and you are going to burn. and you are going to lose 10 pounds in the first week and then you're going to gain 20 pounds the second week. Like, it's not going to work. And that's keto, baby. That's what keto is.
Yeah. I think,
how's you doing?
Yeah, I think that's huge for most people, is to not try to change. Like, that's always been my philosophy. Don't change everything at once. Like, it's not a sprint, don't throw out all the foods that are in your pantry that, okay, yes, they might not be healthy for you and they're not going to help you get to your goals, but don't completely switch your whole life around 180 in one day.
Right.
No fitness professional has ever done that in their life. Why should you expect to do that to yourself? Because I know I wouldn't do that, and so you have to give yourself that expectation that this is going to take time. Okay, let me get more protein in, let me drink more water. Let's add some more vegetables. You can't expect to go from eating no vegetables to eating a complete plant-based diet in a week. If you're not eating one vegetable, how do you manage to eat 10 to 15 a day? Like, that's just not going to work. Like,
yeah.
And for some people, they think that is realistic. And I think sometimes people because they get so hyped about it. I think people get really hyped. They're like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. And I love that. Like, go have that motivation, but let's not jump off a cliff here because there's no water underneath it. Like, hey, let's take a step at a time up the mountain and then we'll be there. It doesn't happen. Like, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen 6 months to a year from now. And you're going to be a completely different person. You're going to be so much happier, feel so much better, but give yourself time. There is no rush, like, yes, you might be dead tomorrow, but more likely than not, you're going to still be here for 10, 20, 30 years. You can use a year to change your whole life for the next 30 to be amazing.
Yes. And like, what I want people to understand is that this is a new skill. You have to learn how to do it. And so we get so emotional when it's about our bodies. We get too tied to it. But if you think about it very objectively, like, I want to be an Olympic skier. Am I just go put on skis and go to Austria and ski in the Alps? No.
Yeah.
I have to learn to ski first. I have to find boots that fit. I have to do the bunny trails. Like, I would not expect to be Olympic skiing in a week. You have to learn how to do it, and learning how to do something takes time. And so if we can just back up a little bit and detach our emotions a little bit, then we can see it more objectively. But we just get too tied up in our heads about it.
Yeah, last week I had somebody on. I can't remember which person it was, but we talked about the same exact thing. Like, this is a skill. So if you're someone who's been listening for a while, you already know I've touched on this at least 3 times already with 3 different people. Like, this is a skill, guys. This is something you learn over time. Like Jamie already said, she didn't have a plant-based diet overnight. She converted herself over time. She learned how to eat that way, just like how you're learning how to eat a certain way. So it takes time to really learn these skills. And I think that's something everyone needs to learn about everything. You don't just go to a computer and know how to build a computer right away. You have to learn every aspect of it. And I think, you can use this to anything in anybody's life, like whatever skill you have, because everyone has skills. Everyone's good at something, and I think a lot of people think that it happens overnight, Yeah. Your grandma wasn't a great cook when she started cooking, but now she is a great cook because she's been doing it for so long.
You got to mess up a lot in order to get good at it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's huge. So, Jamie, where can everybody find you if they want to follow you, look for information?
Yeah, Strength by Jaime Barroso on Instagram. And that's my main place. Also, my website, strengthbyjamiebarroso.com. Got to make sure to spell the Jamie correct. It's Jaime and not MIE. Spelled the right way. And then Facebook also, all the social media platforms.
Awesome. I'll put a link to Jamie's Instagram below, and you can find her, follow her, check out her delicious plant-based meals. They do look absolutely delicious. And give her a follow. Jaime, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
I'll talk to you soon.
You're just starting your day.
I know. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. About to go for a walk. Enjoy, the sunrise a little bit. It's up. It's up now. I think it's a cloudy day today, but we'll manage here.
Awesome.
So,
enjoy, John. Thanks again.
No problem. Bye.